Kevin and Beth joined us last night. And
Beautiful.
Get some about for the week, and we're kind of in the old town here. Just came through one of the gates into the city. Right there, and the super yachts all docked there. So yeah, see what we can see. Problem is we've got pretty big seas, big swells coming through every once in a while. So we're seeing 21 knots of iron wind, and it's small enough for the mail, but it's a little rough for it. We basically want to anchor in like the middle of the channel.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we'll be on top of these guys' anchors.
Yeah.
a little bit, just to hold us in position?
Yep. I'm just kind of holding,
you're
holding
just
in place.
Everybody's on board? Nobody fell overboard?
Nope. All here.
Yeah, there's places to go if you just like not go stay here
Yeah.
for a week. I can see how yeah, rocking and rolling here. We got 24 knots sustained. We're seeing 30 knots apparent. Everybody's having a good old time. It's blowing pretty hard. So what are you thinking?
Good time.
Yeah. It's nice to be under sail, not be just beating into the wind with a pure headwind like we've been getting. Had some pom-poms on the radio earlier from people who were in trouble, but they were pretty far away. They were all the way down at Symi, where we were a few days ago.
Upwind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's open that off, Kev. Upwind, as always. We're gonna go trying to make it to the island of Icaria, which is basically where Icarus, the guy with the wings that melted in the sun, where he was supposed to be from. But it's going to be a long slog. Trying to stay in the lower wind zone, but that's going to be hard.
Once we get up to Icarus, then we can, Icaria, excuse me, we can then do the crossover to Mykonos tomorrow. So that'll allow us, hopefully, close reach, beam reach, across to Mykonos, taking advantage of the Meltemi. When we're underway in rough seas, I like to walk around and just check all the hatches after we're underway. We've got a couple of places that like to drip, so just come forward. Yeah. Be here. Yeah, our hatch here is here. Okay. That one's okay. This place is completely smashed by katabatic winds.
Katabatic winds are a phenomenon that we've seen throughout Greece, common to most of the islands in Greece. They're best understood if you imagine wind being compressed over the top of the ridgeline and dropping down strongly, violently on the leeward side. And the wind comes down onto the water at almost a 90-degree angle and just disperses in all directions. And the winds that we're seeing here in these video clips are easily exceeding 50 knots. They're very dangerous and very difficult to see as a skipper if you're not paying attention, as you can sail right into a katabatic zone. If you're not paying attention, there's not a lot of visual cues. Because there's no fetch, you don't have any swells or anything like that to give an indication that something's happening, other than a kind of a certain shimmer that's happening on the water. And yet, I've got pictures on my phone of a school boat in Gibraltar that was knocked down so violently that the mast was almost parallel to the water, and the people on board were hanging on for dear life to avoid being thrown overboard. And that's what happens. But if there's any kind of a saving grace, it's that they tend to last for 30 seconds or so and then kind of let up for a moment, give you a chance possibly to make some changes. But there is no prevailing wind direction. 1 second it's coming from one direction, the next second it's from somewhere else. We had to leave Icaria at 2 o'clock in the morning, which sucked. But we were so exposed there, and there was no room in the harbor. So we're heading back to Mykonos, and we're making the passage across between Icaria and Mykonos. And the seas are pretty substantial, I would say. They're big rollers coming through. But Talisman's loving it. We're doing about 7.5 knots. We have a genset going, try to recharge our batteries. We haven't been able to do that in a couple of days. But otherwise, under heavily reefed Genoa and mainsail right now, and taking a lot of water over the bow. Luckily she's a pretty dry boat, unless you forget to close something. Keeping all the lines inside the cockpit just to make sure nothing goes anywhere. I may have overdone it a little bit on giving the island some clearance. I'm coming in with 2 nautical miles separation between us and the island, because it's going to be a huge lee shore with no place to. There's a bay kind of in the middle that you could run into probably, but anything that's on the north side of these islands gets hammered by the Meltemi. So we're playing it safe and giving ourselves an awful lot of room to work with. We're not in any giant rush to get to the marina. In fact, our danger is in getting there too early. The guy gets all mad and upset if he has to do anything in the morning. So we're gonna let him do his thing, and we'll arrive, we're thinking, around 10 a.m. Mykonos, right there. And now we're in major ferry land, so we need to start really watching. We're running off the wind pretty good. There's Tinos across the way, and we're just gonna keep this course and then jibe and go into the harbor. That's the plan. There's Kevin and Beth enjoying themselves, mostly.
Having a blast.
Beth's been a little seasick, but punching through it. And there's Wendy at the helm, looking all professional.
Looking all serious.
All serious. You got Helly Hansen ad. Getting into the ferry landing zone here. This is always the scary part. We have to go right across where they take off and land from. They mock. Oh, no, guy behind us is coming in. We're back in Mykonos, and our friends are here. They're living in this cabin here, so I have to be careful about everything. I'm not getting anything dirty, but we're leaving for Malta in like another week. As soon as they leave, in 4 days actually, we're going to head down there. It's probably going to be a pretty long passage. And we've had some issues on the boat that need to be addressed, and one of them is our forward hatch has been leaking. So what I did today is I took this hinge apart on both sides and used RTV sealant on the top of it. It had a gasket in there, but the gasket was pretty crushed flat. So I took this whole thing apart, and these are the springs that kind of counterbalance the hatch to keep it from flying open or closed. So I'm working on that. I also, and Wendy's gonna, now that I've done this, Wendy's gonna go outside and hose it down real good. We have to wash the boat down anyway, and I'll examine it and watch for leaks. The next thing that needs to happen after that is I need to replace our portside navigation light, which is not working. We found that out when we did a night passage the other night across from Icaria to here in Mykonos. And there's a few other things that need to happen as well. We're going to need to get that dinghy engine off and up onto the rail. We're going to be heading all the way to Malta in one big fell swoop, and that's going to be like a 5-day, or I don't even know how many days when he's got it in the charts, but it's going to be a long slog, and for that we want to really prep the boat. We don't know what kind of weather we're going to get, yeah, so I'll keep everybody posted on the little tasks that need to be done, but this is boat life. So this is all back together. The hinge is all back together. And what I discovered was that behind this clip are two holes with rivets on the end, rivets inside, and they look similar to what's going on here. And I should have known better. I'd filled these with Sikaflex last year when water was coming in through the rivet holes. I don't know how they were waterproofed in the beginning, possibly on the other side, but the other side's not easily accessible. I can feel the rivets on the other side, but they're kind of like pop rivets. Anyway, I filled those with black Sikaflex, and Wendy hosed this all down, and it's watertight now. So that's an improvement. Another leak we've had is we've had water kind of coming down into this fiddle, and then it comes and kind of drains out the back by the refrigerator down. And finding leaks is really tough, but I think I identified where it's coming from, and that's the lip underneath the coach roof. So we'll go out there. So the product I used for this is Sikaflex 291. In the U.S., we tend to use 3M products, either 5000 or 4000 series caulk and adhesive caulk by 3M. But in Europe, Sikaflex is kind of the main product, and it's an amazing product. It really does bond. So up under here is what I was talking about. This still wet up in here, but right along there is the Sikaflex I added. When we were coming across from Icaria, I found that this navigation light was out, so I went and, you know, we carry spare bulbs for these, and I got a new bulb in there. The Miltemi is blowing. It becomes unsaleable weather. We're seeing 40 plus knot winds here, and it's just, you know, out there you can kind of see the water being churned up. Parked next to a pretty nice Swan 57. Just, you know, amazing winches on these older boats. It's something you just don't see anymore. But he blew out his headsail.